Okay, guys, it's been a while. It's been a long while. I'm supposed to do this every week, but that's not happening. And I don't know what I did with my water. Gonna need my water. So this whole not doing the videos has been helping, mostly because I'm not reading as much physically, for one thing. I am listening still. I've got a lot of audio books to go through. I'm going to try to rapid fire a bit. I have, it is 6:30 in the morning on Saturday morning, 6:15, something like that. And at 7 o'clock, I have a meeting with a writing chapter in New Jersey, I think it is, East Coast somewhere. So I don't have lots and lots of time. So I kind of have to rapid fire. So I thought this would be a good time to do it when I have to rapid fire, right? So some of these I haven't, this is another thing that's messing with my reading. Goodreads still hasn't fixed my account. And so I can't keep up with what I'm reading, and it's just not working. And I have a system, and my system is ruined. And I never thought that a reading system would be that important to me, but guess what? It is. Yeah. So, and Kevin is not sleeping well tonight, so hopefully he's finally zonked out. But yeah, lots of things going on. What do we have? So I'm gonna jump in with what I've read first. I'm gonna start with the one physical. I think this is the only physical book that I finished, I think. So we have Hearts Aweigh by Shannon Sue Dunlap. There's actually 2 rom-coms in this month's wrap up for June. This one was hilarious. It was so much fun. It was, in some ways, I think it was better than the first, now that I think about it. I was going to say it was just as good as the first, but I think it might actually be better. This has a grumpy sunshine. If you read Lori Wick's Promise Me Tomorrow from the, I think it's Heart of the Rockies. It's something of the Rockies series from like late 90s. Right, Neville? Tell him. You tell him. Yeah. The character in here, Abby, she reminds me a lot of Rusty. No. Is her name Rusty? Or was the mom Rusty? Mom might have been Rusty. Not sure. But they both have red hair, so, you know, what can I say? But I know, I'll pet you too, Toothless. So, you know, but she's the child care director, if you will, on this cruise ship that these women live on. There's 4 women. They're the shippers, and their job is to try to match people up. And they're usually doing it incognito. I mean, they got walkie-talkies. They've got a game plan. I mean, they're on it. They've got this down pat. But Abby wants to get married, to have children, she doesn't want to live on a cruise ship for the rest of her life. So she goes to them and asks them to find her someone. And then, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that someone shows up on the ship and they decide that they're going to try to get them together, and one of the shippers is totally against it, which is kind of funny. And you get a lot of backstory, slowly getting to know more and more about each of the shippers. I really think we need 4 books so that we can have more detail from each of those shippers. I'm just saying. But, so, write, Kriegel, and beg for more. But, so Abby, being head of this guy comes onto the ship. He's got a young daughter that apparently he hasn't spent much time with. And now he has custody of her, and he doesn't know how to be a father. He's been a businessman who has been very absentee, and then came a divorce, and then came, you know, this custody thing, and now he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And the nanny he brings with him, yes, he's very wealthy. The nanny he brings with him is instantly seasick and no good. So he hires Abby as part of his cruise package, if you will, to take care of his daughter, and everything goes from there. It's really fun. There's a blackmailer on board, and things are getting dicey with this blackmailer, And yeah, really, really cool. Laughed. I'm saying it's really cool after I talk about a blackmailer, but really though, how that blackmailer thing was handled and what happened with it and everything, it really was cool. But it was fun. It was what I needed. So much fun, whatever. But there's lots of books coming out right now on Audible that I have been waiting for. And a few of them came out in May. One of them, okay, so it didn't actually, one of them didn't come out. So I read, let me find the name of the other book. The Right Sort of Man, I think is the name of it. Sparks and Bainbridge. Yeah, The Right Sort of Man. And that's the name of their matchmaking agency. And then we had the second one, A Royal Affair. And in this one, they're trying to vet Prince Philip for the future Queen Elizabeth. Based upon some letters that have come through. So they're trying to vet this guy before an engagement can be happening, you know. So that's kind of the point of it. So that part of the story was really good. But there's too much of, particularly one of the Sparks, I think it is, her attitude toward things is incredibly modern, and in itself, I might even be able to choke down, but because Bainbridge is so accepting of that modernity that is illegal at that time, and the stuff that's going on, you know, I mean, this gal is having an affair with a married man, and then it's almost too much information. Not quite, doesn't go behind the closed door, but you almost wonder if there's like a crack there that they're trying to help you peek in or something. I mean, that's a feeling I got, even though it's not there. It makes me feel like each one's going to get worse. So that's the last one I did. I don't know if I'll rate it because the mystery itself was excellent, but all this other made it ick. And so until I figure out how I'm going to rate that, I really wish you could rate, like on Audible I can, but I can't on Goodreads and stuff. You know, Audible you could rate the performance, you can rate the story, and you can rate it. But you know, I think there's 3 things. But I think it would be neat if you could rate books that way, where it's like, you know, the mystery is awesome, characterization is fabulous, the content is not what I was looking for. You know what I mean? But you can't, and so the dogs are digging holes. Okay, whatever. So anyway, that one, I'm done with that. And then there was another Kinsey, A Lady Hardcastle. The latest one came out, The Beast of Littleton Woods. Yeah, The Beast of Littleton Woods. And that one, oh my goodness, it was so much fun. There's stuff going on. People are being attacked by a beast, and they can't figure out what this beast is. Everybody is like turned it into some big horrible. Are they seriously blowing that bounce house up again? They have a bounce house water slide thing next door. Flooded our driveway with dirt last night, and I swear it's 6:30 and they're blowing it up again. What? Whatever. I thought they took it away, but apparently they didn't. Anyway, yeah, this beast, they're kind of like overemphasizing what the beast has done, but then someone says they saw, you know, something else, and they're like, wait, what? And then something shows up, and so things are just getting really weird in Littleton Cotterell, and people are getting nervous, and then out comes all the stuff. And, you know, they got to figure it out. And, you know, I mean, I kind of figured out really early what it probably was, but I had no reason to know. But I was like, okay, I'm going to guess this. And then when we find out what it is, which I was right, I should have known. And I forgot. So if you've read them the other ones more recently than I have, you might actually figure it out sooner than I did. But it was a lot of fun. I didn't figure out everything, but I figured out a lot because that's kind of how he writes. I think he deliberately writes it in a way that you're kind of left confused, but you think you might know, but you're not sure. I actually think he does that deliberately. Not sure, but I kind of get that feeling, which is a lot of fun. Flo and Lady Hardcastle were a hoot. We didn't get as much from like the inspector and some of the others. They got to go bark at the dog in the alley. It's the time that the guy walks by and hopes that they'll be out there so he can let the dogs bark at each other. It makes him really happy. He's a sweet old guy. But, so, you know, some of those characters, now we did get to see Daisy, is that her name? I think Daisy from the bar. We did get to see her. But the others, not so much. And, you know, you're kind of getting the feeling that war is coming because we're up to like close to 1914, so it's going to be any time now. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the next one because I'm like, yes. So that was easy, 5 stars for me, totally easy. So then we had the next in the Flora Steele Mysteries, book 11, the Venice murder, and they finally go on their honeymoon. You know, we've known this is coming. They decided to go to Venice. They decided to stay at this really nice hotel. And this is going to be just this awesome honeymoon. And of course, bodies. Because bodies. And this one was kind of interesting because it seems like the more their relationship is cemented, the less Jack wants to... Is his name Jack? Jack Carrington. Yeah. The less he wants to be involved in this stuff. It's like the closer they are, the more he wants to protect her and keep her away from this kind of stuff. And so here they are on their honeymoon, and she is just like going gung-ho. And it's kind of neat because it's still her personality, but you are seeing a willingness sometimes for her to kind of tone back who she is out of deference for him. And you do see that he understands that this is who he married. And so they do have that same neat relationship vibe that has been going on. And, you know, I got really annoyed at the beginning because, you know, they're hinting at a relationship, but she is absolutely so full of what she wants that she isn't willing to yield. And Merryn Allingham is doing a fabulous job of kind of showing the growth while still keeping the characters the same. So I really definitely did enjoy that one. I did not listen to that one yet, so it's not that one. I did listen to a short on the way back from Las Vegas once. I listened to a short book by John Acuff, All It Takes Is a Goal. And I you know, I don't know why. I really don't know why. Somebody must have mentioned it somewhere, and I went, I'll listen to that. And because it was in, you know, I'm sitting there at the airport in Las Vegas after dropping off my daughter, and I'm like, what do I have in here all ready to go? That one. I'm going to do that one. And that's what I did. I just went for that one. So All It Takes Is a Goal by John Acuff, Thirsty Dog. So it was good. It was kind of a rah book. It was very short, and it was kind of like a rah, you know, you can do this, don't forget, you know, here are ways to be more effective with your goal making and planning. And I was like, yeah, this was good. I mean, I don't think I could give it 5 stars because I don't think it's a 5-star kind of book. I mean, no, but it was really, really good. And if it was the kind of book that I would normally give 5 stars to, maybe I would. This would have had to have been just blow me out of the water for me to feel like that even a book like this should have 5 stars. So I didn't, but it definitely will be good. And I haven't actually given any stars to any of these things because guess what? Can't make Goodreads work. So frustrating. Next up, I listened to Sometimes You Stay by Liz Johnson. Definitely a rom-com, but not a slapstick, silly rom-com. It's definitely a deeply emotional, but it's a really funny one. This one was all the feels. I don't know what it is about Liz Johnson. She can write the sappiest, just the super sappiest romance, and I still like it. The sappiest parts are never my favorite, except for Christmas at the Red Door Inn. I love every bit of that, including all the sap, and then I don't understand why. I just do. But maybe it's the age gap. I'm a sucker for an age gap. But and sometimes you have a gal who, and I think this is what Johnson does so well. When Liz is writing, she doesn't just give us a character with a problem that she has to overcome. She gives us characters with deep-seated issues. And this Lucretia is her name. They call her Lucretia. Lucretia has had a really rough past. In a different way than most of the rough pasts that we're accustomed to seeing. And it has made her absolutely adamantly against things like home and permanence. She is determined never to live in the same place all the time. She is a travel vlogger, and that's what she does. And she goes to PEI to do some stuff, and while she's there, she gets pushed into the harbor accidentally. She's not paying attention, so it's just as much her fault as anybody else's. Along with all her gear, all her clothes, everything, it's gone. It's just all of it's ruined by this local guy. He breeds and raises Newfoundlands. He trains them for search and rescue dogs and things like that. And then he also is a rescue guy. He's got a one-eyed cow. He's got a couple of goats who have, actually I think he has 3 goats, 1 mama goat and some couple of kids. And when something goes wrong and people have these critters, he goes and takes them so that the critters aren't just abandoned or whatever. And he ends up with one of those little miniature cows, and because this thing is destroying these people's living room. They thought it was so cute and they wanted one, and then it's destroying the living room. So this is what he does, and he's not really all that modern. He's got internet that is like dial-up by comparison to what most people are accustomed to now. It's not dial-up, but it's that slow, or at least it would feel like it to someone who is used to today's internet. And he has an old phone. I think he may have an old flip phone that he's had forever. And he doesn't do like social media. He's clueless. And so when she says she's a content creator, he's like, what is that? And she thinks he's really making fun of her, but he's really actually trying to understand. And so she is stuck there in Rustico, or North Rustico. He's in some part of the island. She is stuck there until she can get her stuff, but she has to reorder all of her electronics. She doesn't have a phone, she doesn't have a laptop, she doesn't have a camera, she doesn't have any of the things that she uses for her job. And so she has to stay. And she has no money. She can't get the money because she's got to get replacement stuff. I mean, it's just insane what this poor girl's got to go through. And it's him learning to appreciate a different life that he could never comprehend, and her learning that just because something has been misused or abused in some way doesn't mean that it has to be that way for everyone. And all the things and the relationship, it is so deeply emotional, and it's uncomfortable for me how deeply emotional it is, and yet it is so very real. And just how attached, because it's not insta love, but it's close, because we're only talking 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. But it was a really wonderful story, funny as all get out. But him dealing with the animals, and they're there to help this one dog. She's about ready to whelp, and so they're helping her when that time comes, and just the interactions and what frightens her off, and what makes him get bold when he's not a bold person, and all those things. He has a huge misunderstanding in his life that it's one of those ones that a conversation would have solved it way back when, 10, 15, whatever it is, years ago. But it's one of those conversations you don't want to have. It was a natural reason why he would not have this conversation with someone. It makes sense to me. I wouldn't have had the conversation either. I'd have been like, okay, whatever. That's what you think, you go. And so it was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story. And I loved it. Okay, next up was the puzzle of Parham House. And in this one, Christopher, it's a Lord Edgington book. And in this one, Christopher, his mother's friend, Christopher's mother's friend, say that 10 times fast, sends a note asking them to come and investigate these strange happenings in this house. And from that, they get there and bizarre things are happening and they make no sense. They don't understand what's going on. They can't figure it out. Things aren't working the way they are. And then people start dying. And it's just the whole story. It was so fun. I had so many ideas of who and what and where. And one of them was right. But it was just one of many that, and I didn't say, oh, well, this is it. It was just like, well, okay, it could be this person with this thing because of this reason. Or it could be this person. And I never said, okay, it's this. I'm going to forget that because I know I came up with it. I know I'm going to forget that. So I hope I remember to come back here and listen to this so that I don't get it wrong when I finally get to do my review, because yeah, I figured it out, but I didn't. It was just one of many things I figured out that could be. So it was a lot of fun. I just love these, and I wish the audios would come out faster, and I understand why they don't. It takes time and a lot of money. So I get that, but I'm like, I want more. Just give me more. Just give me more. So it was a whole lot of fun just seeing Christopher. And in this one, I thought we were doing something similar to what he did with the one where we met Marius Quinn with the play, and he started behaving like Christopher in it, and just coming up with these wild things, and I thought it was like that because in this one he Lord Edgington wasn't himself. He wasn't behaving like Christopher, but he wasn't being him. He's like lost all his confidence, and it was just a lot of stuff. And then the how and the why and what they did to bring this through. It was just like another layer to Lord Edgington, and we get to see, Christopher growing and developing and becoming stronger. But in this one, we got to see some new layers to Edgington. And it's not that he's a cardboard character, he's not, but he can appear to be sometimes. And so it was really kind of neat to see that slight difference in him. I'm going to put these things on. My glasses are filthy. Oh my gravy. So I started to listen to Body and the Booksellers because I saw the one and thought it was the first one, but it's actually the 21st one. But it's by the same two authors that did the Homefront Sleuths series, and so I was looking for more and didn't get more. I was really frustrated. So but this is Sherlock and Lucy, and it turns out it's like we're actually dealing with Sherlock and then someone else, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not interested, especially since that's there. It's like, no. Then I listened to Bones in the Blackout. And it's a wartime cozy mystery, the Benjamin Bones mysteries. And in this one, you've got this doctor who's been sent to a village near where his wife grew up. And he and his wife are on the verge of a divorce. So this is supposed to be like a make it or break it time for them while they're there. And when they get there, someone runs them down, and his wife is killed. It happens right away. I think you can read that part in the sample, so I don't think I'm giving away a spoiler. Actually, I think that part is on the synopsis, so you know, I think you're good. But and he is left with a couple of broken legs, or at least one broken leg. I think it's two broken legs. He is really messed up, and he's, you know, trying to figure out what happened and who did this. And it you get through this whole rigmarole, and it is fascinating. It was a fascinating mystery. I figured out a few things in the mystery, one of them being right away. There's something that I was like, okay, this has got to be a thing, but I wasn't figuring out who done it as much as just facts of the case that I knew were going to be a part of it. I didn't know how. So in that sense, it was a really good mystery for me. Maybe I just wasn't all there, but I think it was, you know, I think they did a pretty good job at just kind of underlayering, because I was a bit taken aback and then going, yeah, duh, you know. So it was really cool. But he lives in a house where a woman died, and the village keeps saying that there's a ghost there. And this is where things broke down for me, because it's like this ghost in his house that you never actually see. He keeps thinking he's dreaming, but is he really? We don't know. It's left open to the reader so far anyway. But some of the clues came from the ghost. And I'm like, that is, to me, that's a cheat. It didn't ruin the mystery for me, but it could have if it continued. And I'm not a big fan of the whole ghosty thing if it's real anyway. And I'm a hypocrite because I loved the first Antiquity book. So, you know, what do I know? But I read the, what's it called? The synopsis of the next one. And I was going to listen to one more and see. And the thing is that they are such engaging and really interesting stories, and the writing is really good, that I decided I'm actually not going to for that reason, because I'm kind of afraid that I will like it. And the next one, I know the doctor is into maybe doing a seance to talk to this ghost, because maybe he can get some more information. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going there. So that one's out. But I did get the Judas monk murders. I think I already talked about the Spitfire murders. If I didn't, that one was really fabulous. But the third one, there's another one coming out any time. I think it's maybe early next month. But the Judas monk murders, it's a home front sleuth's mystery. This is book 4, and these have that big cast of characters that's by Charles Veley and Anna Elliott. They have a huge cast of characters, and we get their perspectives, and because of whose perspective we're getting, we get both information we need that another character might not have, and because this character doesn't know what some other character does, we don't get all the information like downloaded right away. We have to pick out the pieces. Brilliantly done. In this one, there is like this local legend about this monk who, during the time, and I can't remember what it's called, but it was that period before the Hanovers. Was it before the Hanovers? Anyway, it was that period when the Catholics were being persecuted, and, you know, if you didn't recant, you were killed. I mean, especially like the priests and whatnot. Well, they had this secret monks, right? And one of the monks betrayed the hidden monks to those people looking for them, and then, you know, there's legends about what happened to him. Some say he killed himself, some say he ran away, who knows, we don't know. But then near where that abbey was, there's a body found, and there's also at the same time a army base nearby, or is it Air Force? I think it's Army nearby, and they've got plans for the area, and now there's a turf war between the local constabulary and the thing, and, you know, the one main gal, what's her name? Starts with an E. Is it Ellie? Emma? I swear there's something out there chewing on something. Anyway, she asked to actually use some of her contacts. They're going to go deal with the dog. To try to get the local police able to investigate and find out what's going on. It was really a good murder. All of a sudden, I can't remember who did it. I can't remember. I can't remember. Oh my gravy. I started listening to the Jade Stone Sleuth by Cami Checketts. Sounded like it was going to be fun. I was all excited, and it was AI narration, and I just closed it. I'm not interested. So there went that one. Then I found another series that reminds me a bit of this Hometown Sleuths. It is the Secret Detective Agency. It's by Helena Dixon, and the first one, you know, you've got Arthur, who is an asthmatic guy who's brilliant with puzzles. Then you have Jane, who is like, she's in charge of some secret ops in Whitehall during the war. So this is another war thing. And some of these agents are dying or going missing, and they don't know what's going on. So she goes to get help from Arthur. They've got to find out what's going on. And because of how they handle it, because of what they do, so you're dealing with both mystery and spy stuff, which was really cool. It was really good. But because of how well they did work together, even though they have trouble with each other, she is a chain smoker who is constant. She wants coffee, chain smoking, and she's got a cat. And the cat and the smoking are killing Arthur with his asthma. And he's got a manservant, Benson, who is like his, you know, he's almost like his nanny. It's really funny, but they all kind of ended up working together. So her boss in Whitehall says, you know, we're gonna begin another branch just for you guys to do this kind of thing once in a while. So I read that one, the Secret Detective Agency, because that's what it starts as, and then I read the Seaside Murders, which that one was so good, and I absolutely should have figured it out. I feel like an idiot, but I didn't. I had an idea of who it was, and I think I got so fixated on it because every time I turned around, my suspicions were being 100% backed up. And there was only one thing that would have made me suspect the person that did it, and it was minor, but there were things that proved that this person wasn't. And I knew, maybe if you don't know anything about the English coasts and things and whatnot, it might not have been obvious, but I know enough about this because of how much I've read that I should have figured stuff out, and I didn't. And it was brilliant. It was so much fun. I started listening to A Few Right Thinking Men by Roland Sinclair. Didn't get very far at all. I was bored stiff, and I kind of got a feeling I wasn't going to like where it was going, so I just stopped. And right now I'm listening to Murder at Aldwych Station, and it's a police inspector, World War II. This station they're hiding stuff from the British Museum in there to keep it protected from the bombs, and somebody is dead by it, and they got to find out who it is and why, and all this is going on. And I've got some suspicions, but I don't think I know enough about who could be involved to be sure. But if my suspicions are right, then these might be a little too easy for me to figure out. We shall see. But I got to get over there and get this laptop going and get everything set up for my video. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm not going to hold up a book or anything. I'm just going to go, bye.